Welcome to downtown Auckland, right on the waterfront. We are playing high-octane pinball. This is an oversized pinball course covered in 600 to 1,000 horsepower drift cars. We've got almost 20,000 people down here lining the streets as 8 of the world's best drift car racers go head-to-head in the quarterfinals. Stood next to me is one of the most knowledgeable drift car pundits in the world, Mr. Jared Deander. Jared, an immense morning of qualifying here in Auckland. You're impressed?
Most definitely. I mean, you see the variety of vehicles, drivers, and you and I just stand there. We got a front row seat, man. We got the cube angle box, all these elements. We're basically, Drift Shifters was a brainchild of Mad Mike Whiddett, who hails from right here, not too far from here, Auckland, New Zealand. That's where we're at, and this is where he cuts his teeth. But technology is the key here. So you know what? We're gonna break it down throughout today's festivities. But Ed, you, we're here. But another reporter is down in the pits. Let's throw it down to Drew, who's gonna give us some updates from the hot pit area.
Welcome to the pit here at the Red Bull Drift Shifters. As you can see, people are warming up for the quarterfinals. Right now, we've got Chris Forsberg lining up. He's ready to go. It's been pretty awesome this morning, and like the boys have said, just over 20,000 people have come out to Auckland Quay Street to watch this event. Now we'll let them go with the quarterfinals, boys. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Drew. As we're back up here, you could see the Force, who I thought was just going to absolutely kill it out here. Barely got in. He was on the bubble after his first run, but got that number 6 spot, so he got the fast pass in. But the Force Forsberg, he's on the line.
Well, Matt Powers, the winner in 2012, the first edition of Red Bull Drift Shifters, comes back. He isn't doing the regular Formula Drift series this year. Instead, he's doing a few demos. You were reluctant to say that he was going to do well because he hasn't had seat time, but he comes out and proves that he's got the consistency and the skill to place the car on the sensors here on the track.
Well, he's been surfing a lot. He's been drinking coffee, and I mean, jealously, I think it's pretty sweet. But yeah, seat time. It's like any sport, you know. So it's pretty awesome. But you know, Chris Forsberg, he's coming off of some momentum. He's on the line. But Mad Mike Whiddett, more than anybody, wants to win this thing. It's his brainchild. This is his baby. He wants to be, as I said, not a bridesmaid. He wants to be the groom. He wants to be the whole party.
Okay, well, we'll find out how these boys fare in just a second. Right now, it's time to find out more about our starter, Chris Forsberg. Say hello to Chris Forsberg. He hails from the USA and has been drifting for 14 years. His top sponsors are Hankook Tyres, NOS Energy Drink and Champion Spark Plugs. He's rolling in the Nissan 370Z, powered by a VK56DE engine with an output of 850 horsepower. He's got Hankook RS3 tyres.
Well, there we are. We're in the cockpit. You can see the lid is dropped and the game face is on, or whatever face is underneath there. Here we go. We're ready to send it here. We're making history. 2014 Red Bull Drift Shifters. Here comes the Force.
Okay. The drifting Jedi powers through the cube angle box where he's got to try and get that car perpendicular onto the GoPro wall ride. Just rubbing a little bit on the exit.
All right, so going at it again. Now, the GoPro wall ride, you can hit that obstacle twice. The bollards, which are the barrels in the middle of the track, you can only hit once. Going for the harborside slider. Now remember, hit the combos. Each one sensor is worth the amount of points, but like pinball, if you accumulate them right there, that combo of the Memphis Meltdown and that trackside VIP, the cliffhanger.
Forsberg really starting to make this work for him. The sensors are powered. They're infrared, so they're measuring how close the cars are to the barriers as he comes into the Achilles Undertaker. Under that truck, there's one sensor there, 2 on each corner of the truck, and he's really starting to crank it up now.
All right, there's Forsberg back at it. There we see a look at his score, 1.5 million coming into the mobile service center. Boom! Does he get the 500,000 combo? He does. 2.1 million for the Force.
Another fantastic score for Chris Forsberg. I think he's improved ever so slightly, probably about 20,000 on his qualifying score, so he'll be happy with that. Whether it's enough to secure a top 4 position and advance to the semi-finals is the big question.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, because now there's no, you're one and done. That's it. So Forsberg's going to wait on the side, and we're going to see if he advances on. We're only taking the final 4. Half of the field is going to be watching from the sidelines or one of these buildings up here. Next up, Ryan Turk. Things, people, cars get Turk. He's coming up next.
Introducing Ryan Turk from the USA. He's been drifting for 11 years and his top sponsors are Maxxis Tyres, Champion and Air Force. He's driving the 2013 Scion FRS with a Brian Crower Stroke 2JZ engine with a wheel horsepower output of 830. He's on Maxxis MAZ1 tyres. Well, interestingly, Ryan Turk was one of the guys sat right on the bubble of a semi-finals position. If he can drive the way he did in the qualifiers, then he will advance to the next round. Sets it up as he comes out of the Vodafone 4G speed tunnel.
Out of that Vodafone 4G speed tunnel into the GoPro wall ride. Be a hero. Will Turk be a hero? He's known for his just aggressive style. He hits the combo. That's all 6 sensors being hit.
He is in full attack mode at the moment. He's not taking any prisoners. The way this car ramps itself into the course, it's a beautiful thing to watch. Interestingly, not much smoke. Just like Matt Powers, he's positioning the car rather than burning it out.
Now taking a look at the cliffhanger and the harborside slider. Those are those 2 half-circle wall rides. Oh, and look at this.
He's lost a tire.
Has broken a wheel.
Driver's side, rear wheel is burned out. That's it for Turk.
Ryan Turk is going to have to retire early, as I say. People, things, and cars get turked. He turked himself. Ryan Turk is one of the fan favorites coming from the U.S. He's from New Hampshire. Live free or die. It seems like his car has done the latter.
Is that the motto for New Hampshire?
That is on their license plates, and it's on Ryan Turk's chest, to be honest.
Well, today his car has died.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, the live free or die motto has again been the latter. So the 2JZ Scion FRS, that's a wrap for him. But man, that was he had it. He's known for his, kind of go get him style, very aggressive. But wreckers are checkers, as they say, and it seemed to be the wreckers for him.
Well, Turk is the first driver to go down. We have our third driver ready to go in the pits now. Chris Forsberg probably a little bit more relaxed now. He knows it's one driver down who can't overtake him.
A little bit more comfortable. The track conditions are changing. It's getting a little warmer. I don't think that's going to play too much of a factor as far as tires and heat and how they navigate the vehicle. But our next driver's on deck. He is number 3 up out of our 8 drivers. He is simply known as Fanga Dan.
Say hello to Fanga Dan, aka Daniel Woolhouse. Representing New Zealand, he's been drifting for 11 years. His sponsors are Sentry Batteries, Castrol Edge and Tri-Ace Tyres. Fanga Dan drives the Australasian classic that is the Holden VE Commodore. It's powered by an LS2 engine that outputs 577 horsepower. Well, we're always looking at muscle cars. The Holden here, piloted by probably one of the biggest muscle men out of the drivers. He's an absolute unit. Fanga Dan Woolhouse takes to the course.
If this was an arm wrestling competition, Fanga Dan would be the last on my list. But it's not. So let's see how the big blue can put it down. Now remember, he got 3rd place in 2012.
And he picked up the Memphis Meltdown on the way through there as he set up for the GoPro wall ride.
Boom, nails the combo. Now, the GoPro wall ride combo, each sensor is worth 10,000 points. If you get 3, it's 60,000. If you get all 6, it's 400,000.
He just absolutely smashed that. He picked that one up on the first loop through. Now he's into the cliffhanger slider, into the harborside slider.
Fanga Dan racking up some points. And 70 seconds. He's still got just under 30 seconds left. Fanga Dan working it right now.
The only driver using the Nitto corner there. That's something unique about his run, and it paid off for him in that first qualifying round. Here he comes again at the Achilles Undertaker. The front of the truck pays off. He's going around the back of the truck.
How's he gonna do? How tight does he get it? Oh! Does he get the whole combo? It seems just a bit outside. 1.7 million points. Let's take a look at it again here, Ed.
He just got hung up on the GoPro wall ride on the first section there. I've actually got some tire in my mouth. My voice has dropped an octave.
Well, consider that a souvenir.
Yeah. Nice little bit of shrapnel from the Nitto corner that we're watching now. That's where he pulled that one round. Not enough sensors in there for that to really pay off. I think a lot of the other guys who are using the harbour side slider to cliffhanger slider are cranking a bigger combo.
As we take a look at the leaderboard, remember the top 4, half of the field's being cut and left behind. Forsberg still top, 2.1 million. Fanger Dan, we just saw, slides in a second. And Ryan Turk, who we saw retire early, I sure hope that score does not stick and keep him in the Final Four. Otherwise, it's not going to be the show that we know and are expecting.
We have got so much pedigree in the drivers yet to run. Mad Mike Whiddett, we've got Matt Powers in there. But coming up next, we've got Andrew Redwood. Andrew Redwood has been an adopted Kiwi for the last 12 years, but was born and raised in California. He's been drifting for 11 years. Top sponsors are Achilles Radial, Club Auto Insurance and Eastern Automotive. Andrew's rolling in a 1988 Mazda RX-7 FC3S with an LS2 Holden V8 6-litre engine, producing 409 horsepower. He's on Achilles Radial 123S tyres.
Well, Andrew Redwood, you could see, I always love the FC RX-7 as it's known. And here comes Redwood. He's going to be throwing her down here. He's got the LS under the hood. Let's see how he does. Check the speed out of that Vodafone 4G speed tunnel.
It's interesting, he doesn't flick too hard as he comes round the Undertaker, but then he's given it loads there.
A very interesting approach. I think he got shaken there as he went into that GoPro wall ride.
Well, he's not erring on the side of caution there. He's actually shoved the car in the barriers, given that bollard a good nudge. Now onto the Hummer. Fired up one of those, and then he's trying to flick back into the harbour side slider. He's definitely got all 3 there. Can he get the set on this side with the cliffhanger?
The car seems very loose here, but is that 2.8 million points?
Yes, it is. An absolutely massive score. He's going to be the first driver in the quarterfinals to break 3 million.
So he's logged. No! And Andrew Redwood slams into that corner.
Right now, it doesn't matter whether he finishes or not. His score is big enough to carry him in at the moment.
Here's the thing. Does he retire early, though? Because if he advances on, the car's unable to run. I mean, he would make the Final Four. Would it only be 3? I mean, you know, we're going to have to check the rule book as, man, a great score regardless. Time has expired, 2.9 million. A great showing, but right there is not a great performance.
That is a big hit. Going to have all sorts of problems with the, what are they called? Tie rod ends.
Yeah, the tie rods, the suspension setup. I mean, you know, quick assessment there. You definitely.
Did my mechanical knowledge get found out?
That will not buff out. That will not buff out.
That's all you need to know.
Man,
okay, so a couple of minutes just to clear that car off the course. I think we can take a look at the leaderboard so far, see where we're up to.
Well, thank you so much for joining us again here. I mean, we're in the harbor here at Auckland, and Andrew Redwood, look at that. Even despite having 15 seconds when he sustained that damage, at the top of the leaderboard.
Well, he managed to crank that out on the GoPro wall rides. You got Chris Forsberg in second there, Fanger Dan in third, Ryan Turk sat on the bubble. 4 drivers still to go.
Man, you wonder how high a score Andrew would have received if he hit that Mobile One Service Center, right?
Well, he would have busted 3 million easily. But one man who did break 3 million in qualifying is coming up next. This is Mad Mike Whiddett. Mad Mike Whiddett, he hails from Auckland, New Zealand. He's been drifting for 7 years. Drift Shifters is his brainchild. He's sponsored by Red Bull, Mazda and Speed Hunters. Mike's driving a Mazda FD RX-7 powered by a 26B quad-rotor engine, which outputs 537 horsepower. His tyres are Nitto NT05s.
Well, you can see Mad Mike Whiddett debuting his new helmet later on this year. Look at that thing. It has some shots fired, but you know what? He is not phased. Debuting that new, look at that, sending kisses to the crowds around the world.
I'll tell you what, there's elements of the Predator about that mouthpiece.
Well, I got to point out, on the profile, we said FDRX7. Well, it's an RX8 because earlier today he took that FDRX7 out. Those are the shots fired that were at the helmet as he rips past us.
Great angle through the cue box as he sits into the GoPro wall ride.
There it is with the combo, the GoPro wall ride. Already at 500,000.
Managed to make that bollard cam, but he hasn't gone for a double lap on the GoPro wall ride, just one. He's going to try and make the harbour slider and this cliffhanger slider work for him.
There it is, going for the combos. He gets the harbour side slide combo.
Not taking any chances, actually rubbed the back of the car in there. 30 seconds, taking a leaf out of Forsberg's book.
Here we go, 1.74 million under the Achilles. Undertaker grabs the combo there, 1.8 mil.
How good was Redwood's run when you realise he was at 2.9? Oh, the combo kicks in for Mike. He's up to 2.3 million.
Wow, really performing surgery there on the front end of the Achilles. Undertaker, 5 seconds. Can he bring it in? Under 1-2.
Oh! He didn't get the power up. Power up didn't count.
The power up did not count. It was under a second, 2.7 million. A great showing. Make some noise, if you will, for Mad Mike Whiddett. He wants this.
That is a big run and a fantastic platform to build on.
So we got to take a look at the update. Mad Mike Whiddett, as you said, just doesn't want to leave it up in the air, just drags the bumper, says forget you, chucks a deuce and the bumper, and gets it high and tight like a fastball pitch. As you see Mike Whiddett bringing it under the Undertaker, and as we said earlier, if it's under 1 second, it will not count. So it seems like it expired early. Mad Mike Whiddett slides literally and figuratively into second place as Andrew Redwood stays up top. Forsberg with 2.1 and Fanger Dan Wilhausen 4th.
Well, right now with 3 drivers still to go, Redwood knows that he's safe. The big question is whether he can get his car out there.
So Ryan Turk, unfortunately, come from the U.S. He's knocked out. They are just dropping like flies. This is all killer, no filler here at Red Bull Drift Shifters. I mean, just a beautiful day. And man, you're looking good to yourself there, buddy. Thank you for joining us here as we are, we're more than halfway through our 8, and this is one and done. Who's going to get onto the 4? Remember, the final, oh man, here we go. Who do we got next?
I'm willing to bet this man will be one of the top 4. He excels at drift shifters. It's Matt Powers. Introducing Matt Powers from the USA. He's been drifting for 10 years. His top sponsors are Phoenix Radiators, Nitto Tires, and Part Shop Max. He's driving a 1995 Nissan 240SX S14 with an LS3 engine with a power output of 400 horse. His tyres are Nitto NT5s. Well, he is the most stylish man in a drift car. You can see the bow tie and the fake tuxedo on his race suit there. And he's got the Kenny Powers lipstick print jade on the car.
He is pop culture at his finest. He's got a little kitty cat. Bring him good luck there even too. He's a cat guy, not a dog guy. But here we go. We are in the final countdown. Can Matt Powers repeat from 2 years ago? Is he going to stand high atop the podium and hold the hardware? Here we go. Matt Powers.
On the evidence of what I've seen so far through practice and qualifying, I think Powers is one of the favourites here. He loves this style, of course.
Ripping through, lighting it up in that Phoenix Radiators, Nitto Tires, and even adding a little Sal's Pizza up into the mix.
Well, he managed to make the Memphis meltdown fire, and now he's onto the bollard, back in for a second bite at the GoPro wall ride.
Nice job right now. Powers, does he get the combo? And he does.
It's the hair and the tortoise. He's so careful with that. He doesn't look like he's going that fast, but he makes sure he fires every single combo.
Well, the only point you're actually, accredited points for speed is right out of the gate, out of that 4G speed tunnel, into the cube angle box.
He's got so much time. Actually looking at Powers while he's driving.
3 million. We've hit the mark, and he has just under 30 seconds left.
This is unreal. He actually looks, I took a look at him, took my eyes off the car and the barriers, looked at him driving, and he actually looks like he's taking a power nap in there. He's so relaxed.
A power nap, or is he just powering down? He's falling asleep with that lead foot on the right. Go fast pedal. 7 seconds left. Remember, Mike just was a bit outside. Is he going to bring it in? And he does! Holy cow, 4.1 million.
First man to break 4 million. Matt Powers is going to be so hard to beat today. He hasn't been in the car that much this year, and yet he's still fresh on the Drift Shifters course.
Oh, look at that. As you said, just burying the back end in. Oh, man, Matt Powers obviously taking the lead with just some attitude. So pitted, bro.
He is so good at riding those sensors. He's right on top of them the whole time.
There it is. Matt Powers sits atop the heap. Andrew Redwood in second. Mad Mike Whiddett third. Chris Forsberg again on the bubble. Fang Dan. That means he is a scratch. Only 2 drivers left to run. Is Daigo Saito going to hit that 2.19 million mark to get in even just the 4? You just need to make the 4 to advance on to the next round.
That is such a strong message from Matt Powers, though. 4 million. Hey, I'm up here on 4 million.
Doubling, I mean, almost, yeah, doubling Chris Forsberg's score. That's how great we are at math. We need a real-time ticker to show us how many points we have. Let's advance on to our next driver. He is known as the Ninja.
Introducing Daigo Saito from Japan. He's been drifting for 15 years and his top sponsors are Achilles Tires, Sunoco Oil and HKS. He's driving the Lexus IS Coupe with a 2JZ engine with an output of 1,200 horsepower. He's on Achilles 123S tyres.
Well, he started the day with a coupe. He's now got a convertible. Tore off the spoiler and the roof. Daigo struggled in that first practice run, but he made it count when he needed to in the second last chance qualifier. And he's with us now in the quarterfinals. Needs a marked improvement, though, if he's going to make the top 4 in the semis.
We had some big expectations from Daigo Saito last year. He didn't kind of live up to that expectations that we were expecting. But Daigo Saito now wants to come back stronger than ever. And he progressively throughout today has done better. Obviously, going to the LCQ, getting in. I mean, here we have, Daigo Saito, who's a champion in many different countries. I mean, I've seen him compete in Southeast Asia. I've seen him compete in Australia. He's been around the world. This guy has probably more seat time than any other drifter in the world.
But that doesn't count for anything when you come into a new format like this. Daigo's got to prove himself on this course now, otherwise we're going to say goodbye to him.
All right, so again, if he makes it in the final 4, that means Chris Forsberg's knocked out. Here we go, Daigo Saito. Can he execute this track flawlessly? We saw him taking it into a wall earlier. Here comes Daigo.
He's on the rev limiter all the way through that cube box. He comes into the GoPro wall ride.
GoPro wall ride.
Nice job for Saito, hitting that GoPro wall ride combo, hitting the downer Ballard.
Just clips the Hummer there and gets that sensor going as he loops it through the middle and into the harbour side slider.
Now these wall ride combos seems to be working for Redwood and for Matt Powers. Now he's already escaped it. Here we go.
Shrapnel time.
Oh, and he works it again. But, he used up. Oh! Daigo Saito!
He's blown out on the bollard.
Finding the gear again. 20 seconds left. Only points, or excuse me, not even, it's 0.7 million because he doesn't even have a million yet.
Okay, if you're sat breathing in this smoke, then you know what it's like to sit next to a burning whale.
So here it is, 5 seconds left, 700,000 points. Oh! And Daigo Saito jumps up, but it seemed the timer, the points.
You need to have a second in the bank to make that Mobile One Service Centre count, and he was too late. The $500,000 will not count the bonus there. It's a perfect park as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. That's what you call a hard park because, you kind of just cross your arms like Run DMC after you do that. You hard park it and just what? Then you just ask questions. Look at that. Absolutely. That's what valets do with our vehicle when they take them. You know that, right?
Okay, Matt Powers still sat commandingly up top on 4.1 million. Andrew Redwood, 2.9. Mad Mike Whiddett, 2.6. And on the bubble, Chris Forsberg down there in 4th on 2.19. So Fang Dan is out, and Daigo Saito just missing out in 7th there. He's not giving a good account of himself, I feel, today.
So as it stands right now, you could see 2 Kiwis are already up in the mix. You got Redwood and Whiddett. Will Gaz Wider join them? That would be pretty sweet.
At the expense of Chris Forsberg, the man who you billed at the start of this event as pound for pound one of the best drift car races in the world.
Yeah, that's fact of the matter. Just coming off a championship victory, back in the States, and by comparison, on paper, just has a lot of accreditation. 2-time champion. He's traveled the world. He's won in Ireland. He has a lot of accreditation. But, man, as you said, Matt Powers, style for miles, but also places his car in the right places. So let's finish off this 8 with another Kiwi, that is Gaz Wider.
Meet Gary Gaz Whiter from New Zealand. He's been drifting for 10 years. His top sponsors are Tectaloid Performance Coolants, Phoenix Radiators and NAC Insurance. Gary's behind the wheel of a Nissan Silvia S14. He's rocking an LS7 Chevrolet engine with an output of 563 horsepower. He's bouncing Achilles 123D tyres.
So Gaz Whiter looking very confident in practice. He slipped up in qualifying, made it through to the quarterfinals through that great last chance qualifier run. Can he step it up again? We got just a little taste of how good he was in that last chance qualifier.
I have to assume that was just an appetizer, just warming things up, a bloomin' onion to a full-on steak that we're about to see. That is Gaz Whiter. We're sitting there in the footwell of his vehicle. He's got those dirty gloves. I mean, that's just kind of almost just, you know, an analogy for Gaz Whiter. He gets dirty, he gets grimy. You know, he deep sea fishes. This guy is out for it, and he is in it to win it, but is he going to be in it, be in the Final Four?
I love the way this car behaves. Watch the chassis here. Once he gets his foot down, this car just sits down and goes.
Wow.
It is raw.
Look at him jump up, 100,000 points there as he went past that cube angle box, going through the GoPro wall ride. Is he going to tick some boxes?
He really needs to make this combo count. He's come out of there. He hasn't got the big 6-point multiplier as he comes out of the GoPro wall ride. He clips the Hummer though, and that gives him a little bit extra.
As we said, each sensor is a different point allocation. And in the cliffhanger and the harborside slider, the wall ride, if you hit the combos, 3, 6 different varieties, you're going to get the combos.
He's got a lot of work to do though. He's more than 2/3 of the way through this run. He's only just broken 1 million points.
Now remember, 70 seconds allocated. When we go to the forum, we're going to have 80. That's 10 seconds more.
Big jump on the Achilles Undertaker. He needs this. Can he break 2.2 million? That's the bubble. No, he can't.
No,
the park wasn't good enough.
So Gaz Whiter, another Kiwi, does not join Mad Mike Whiddett. And look at this Redward. Redward throwing it down. He's in the Final Four.
So we can take a look after this. Wow, beautiful replays there.
Yeah, some great slow-mos. You can see it packed out here. Auckland coming out in droves. We are on Key Street. On one side, we have top-notch 5-star restaurants. On the other side, we got cruise ships and water. There is our Final Four. Matt Powers high atop the board.
Andrew Redwood and Mike Whiddett, the two Kiwis in second and third.
And Chris Forsberg rounding out fourth. So our two that we said, you called out Powers, I said Forsberg, and there they are. So 2 Kiwis, 2 Americans, they walk into a bar. Who's paying for the bar tab?
It is set up for a massive battle in the semi-finals. Can the Americans wipe the floor and end up in the finals as a pure American final, or can the Kiwis do the same?
Oh man, well, we've seen so much variety, but can our winner repeat? And Drew, who's in the pits, is with last time's winner now.
Now I'm in the pit here with, well, you put away the top score so far today. How you feeling, bro?
I feel good. Oh, I didn't know I was talking to everyone right now. Yeah, I'm stoked and I'm excited, and we're trying to get a bumper back on the car and hopefully do it again.
Well, a lot of drivers have, you know, cut. They're gone, but you've just gone through really strong. What was your strategy going into this?
Just try and be precise and. Yeah, stick to the plan.
Well, you took out this competition 2 years ago. You feel the pressure for this year, or what?
Nah, I don't really look at it like, oh, I have to defend it. I just want to win this the same as I wanted to win last time, and yeah.
Well, you're definitely the styliest man out there as well.
Thanks.
Good luck for the rest of the competition, bro.
All right, cheers.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Drew. Thank you, Matt. Now, if you're a little confused as to what's going on today, we've got a little clip coming up now which will show you exactly how this course works. It is a giant pinball machine, but it works with infrared sights and sensors. That is how we're scoring this. But this is the clip that will give you all of the details.
So it's basically like a giant pinball machine. So what we've got is a network of sensors around the course, and they trigger a whole pile of reactions, and those reactions can be sound effects, they can be lighting effects, they can be combos, we can do anything we like with those. So basically we take a series of inputs and we generate some outputs and some scores as a result of those.
for me, it's pretty easy. I'm just driving around and just, you know, saying this is what a poor run should look like and this is what an epic run should look like. But for these guys creating the program to be able to tally it all up and the combos, and I go into their little office over there that they've got set up on their bus, and it's just unreal the amount of numbers and digits and scores and angles, and yeah, I'm glad I'm a professional driver.
Go to start position, blast through there as fast as you can, whether that's forwards or sideways, up to you. I just need you to go as quickly as possible so we can make sure that thing will read at all possible speeds.
Okay.
Now we're at a stage where we're going through each feature at a time and we're tweaking them up. So we'll do 4 or 5 runs here and get this one just so, and then we'll move on to the next feature and hit that again. And we just work our way down the track with Mike coming in over and over and over, doing good, better, best. And we're making sure that the system is reading accurately to how a judge would judge it from a human's perspective.
With the whole concept of drift shifters, I was never trying to reinvent drifting. It's a visual judged sport, so there's natural human error, the politics that come with any judged sport. But not only that, it was really important to create something that the crowd can understand. You know, if you're not a core follower of the sport, then it's very difficult to understand the scoring system.
At what point do you think it's zero bonus? Is it, you were saying 500 mil?
Yeah, 500 mil.
500 mil. 250 mil, you're half the bonus and no mil off.
Yeah, if you're scraping, you're winning.
Well, proof there, if you needed it, just how much Mad Mike Whiddett would like to win this event. It's his concept. He came up with the idea. He didn't make the podium in 2012, but right now he is poised to strike.
I mean, it's really cool, the technology. You know, I've been announcing 11 years, basically the coming of drifting as we know it, but the technology that's applied here is really cool. This little thing, they're plugged in all around here, and the combos, I mean, it's really cool. It's real-time scoring. It's like a pinball. Yeah, it's obviously not working now, but Mad Mike Whiddett wants it. You know, again, 2 Americans, 2 Kiwis, and we are finding out that Redward, we saw him make it with that, phenomenal score, but we saw him sustain some major damage, so much that the car had to retire. So Bruce Tannick's vehicle, man, he's the alternate. He didn't make it in. He makes it in. He's back. But now Redward's going to drive his vehicle.
He's donated his car. That's the camaraderie we're seeing in the pits.
Yep.
I like the way it's shaping up, though, that Kiwi-USA battle. You're going to give it the USA. USA.
I think people at home are chanting that. Obviously here they're going New Zealand. Or I mean, what would be the New Zealand chant here?
The haka.
All right, well, there you go.
I'm not going to attempt it.
Yeah, please don't. All right, well, we're just moments away from our first driver here in the Final 4, and the first driver is the Force, Chris Forsberg.
Say hello to Chris Forsberg. He hails from the USA and has been drifting for 14 years. His top sponsors are Hankook Tyres, NOS Energy Drink and Champion Spark Plugs. He's rolling in the Nissan 370Z, powered by a VK56DE engine with an output of 850 horsepower. He's got Hankook RS3 tyres.
So Chris Forsberg up against it now, the first of the semi-final runs. It's only one run. There are no second chances. He needs to make this one count.
Yeah, I mean, the cliffhanger VIP over there, Leon Scott, they're over there. They're going to get a front row view. I mean, man, you guys better be taking notes. Yeah, you might be up on the railing, but that is a sweet view. Him and 7 of his mates are going to see Chris Forsberg go at it. And this guy's been on the bubble twice today. He is in the top 6, went the fast pass, and now here he was on the bubble there coming into the Final 4. But here we go. Chris, the Force Forsberg, with, again, one and done. Is he going to get on the podium? Here we go.
That matte black carbon bodywork. It's a beautiful thing as he comes flying out of the Vodafone 4G speed tunnel. Tears down, not much angle, but he makes it under the Memphis meltdown sensor.
So already 300,000 points. Let's see, can he get that GoPro wall ride combo? And we're not seeing it completely illuminate. Seems to be missing a gear there again. Really getting the back bumper into that wall.
He dragged it through there, kicking and screaming, didn't he? As he powers his way out, back under the Memphis sensor and into the harbour side slider. This double-sided slider.
Taking a Matt Powers kind of approach while just getting that bumper into the wall.
Okay, he's back onto the harbour side. Absolutely slaying those combos through there. really making it work for him as he powers out. Now, Forsberg made the time count for him in the Achilles Undertaker in the quarterfinals. Is he going to do the same here?
So Forsberg, you can see his back bumper a little lopsided. We're not getting the updates on the scores. We're looking for real time, but we'll get it right there at the end, and we'll see the leaderboard. But obviously out of the gate, he is our current leader.
So allowing through this is exactly where he made it count last time. And you know for a fact.
Oh, and you could hear the time expire.
He raced in there, giving a little nudge as he parked. Chris Forsberg foregoing that bonus of the Mobile One Service Center, and he'll be disappointed by that.
So there you see Forsberg really getting into that wall, and as you said, Matt Powers really, he shoved that back bumper into that wall ride, and he seemed to be doing that as well. But what you guys are going to find out the score as soon as we do. The real-time scoring accumulating. As you can see him wrapping it under the Achilles tire Undertaker. Woo! Exploding that lens there on that back light.
It's incredible when you see what they're playing with. It's 5-10 centimeters maximum. That's the margin for error they have because they're so close to those barriers, time after time.
Time after time, sounding like a little Cyndi Lauper there.
I love a bit of Cyndi Lauper. Soundtrack to the Goonies.
Everybody does, and girls just want to have fun, but these aren't girls. These are men doing battle here like gladiators as we're going to advance on to our next driver in just moments, and it's the man who just thought of this whole thing. He says, you know what, let's bring technology, drifting. I love drifting. We're here in New Zealand, and man, thank you to Auckland for hosting us. We're in the shadow of the Sky Tower. Beautiful day, and are we ready for our next driver?
Well, we've got the score. Okay, so just clipping 3 million points there. So Forsberg very, very happy with that, despite missing the parking garage.
3.5, so 3.5 million points for Forsberg, and that was without hitting that Mobile One Service Center. So let's move on to our next driver. He is Mad Mike Whiddett.
Mad Mike Whiddett, he hails from Auckland, New Zealand. He's been drifting for 7 years. Drift Shifters is his brainchild. He's sponsored by Red Bull, Mazda and Speed Hunters. Mike's driving a Mazda FD RX-7 powered by a 26B quad-rotor engine, which outputs 537 horsepower. His tyres are Nitto NT05s. Well, there are no half measures at this stage of the competition. Mad Mike Whiddett is going to let it all hang out, 100% committed as he takes to the course this time.
All right, so 3.5 million in that vicinity is the score to beat as Mad Mike Whiddett. Sweet as he's about to pull away from the start line.
Is that your attempt at a Kiwi?
Yeah, that was it. Felt inspired. I got a Gandalf tattoo, man.
Okay, Mad Mike tearing through that speed tunnel, flicks it out to get into the cube angle box. Definitely went for speed over angle.
Well, there he goes in the GoPro wall ride. Is he going to fill it up? 6 sensors. Remember, if you hit a wall, and he does, hits the GoPro wall ride combo, that means 400,000 points.
And he's gone for the double, and he's got to round that up. So 326,000 as he leads the GoPro wall ride. It's time now to crank up these sliders.
So I spoke a little too soon. He got the GoPro wall ride, but he only got the 60,000 points because he hit only 3. But look at this, the Memphis Meltdown, 1.8. And man, 40 seconds left. Now remember, Ed, we didn't mention it, but 80 seconds are allowed now. 80 seconds is the time allotment.
So he's got a lot more time to make this work. He's clocked the 2 million barrier. With just over 2/3 of the time gone, he comes into the Achilles Undertaker. Needs to fire all 5 sensors around this truck. 1 on each corner and 1 underneath it.
I would say he's firing on all cylinders, but it's a rotary, right? So he's firing on all winkles right now. 2.6 million. He needs to go for that Mobile One Service Center. Oh, and he's big correction. I don't know if he's gonna make it. 6, 5, 4. Does he get it in? And he does! Oh! 3.2.
Full power. It's a big score, but it's not enough to beat Forsberg at this stage. Remember, we're in the semi-finals, so only the top 2 of these 4 drivers are going through. And right now, Mad Mike is sat in 2nd position.
Well, Ed, as we take a look at the instant replay, we're finding out that we were to see Andrew Redwood, but we heard that he was going to borrow Bruce Tannick's car, and now both cars are broken. Andrew Redwood's out. Fanga Dan Woolhouse is in. So Dan Woolhouse is coming up, and he's stoked. He's back in the mix.
The big man.
The big man that you do not want to battle in a bar brawl. But let's take a look at the leaderboard. As you just saw two drivers, Forsberg is sitting in first.
Okay, a great run for him. He's growing into this course. Mad Mike Whiddett, a little weak maybe on the GoPro wall ride, but he more than made up for that on the Harbourside slider and the Cliffhanger slider. Fanga Dan Woolhouse has got his work cut out. Another 10 seconds, but a lot of points to stuff in there.
Yeah, as you said, 70 seconds earlier, but now 80 seconds allotment. Let's take a look at the big man that is Fanga Dan.
Say hello to Fanga Dan, aka Daniel Woolhouse. Representing New Zealand, he's been drifting for 11 years. The sponsors are Sentry Batteries, Castrol Edge and Tri-Ace Tyres. Fanga Dan drives the Australasian classic that is the Holden VE Commodore. It's powered by an LS2 engine that outputs 577 horsepower.
So, Fanga Dan, all or nothing. We were critiquing the blue and yellow earlier on. He wasn't too sure about it. I love it. I think it's a strong color.
I'm a San Diego Charger fan, so for me, I love it. The blue and yellow, man. There you go. But Fanga Dan, look at him. He is just poised. You know, he's into traditional race car driving, but he's been drifting for a while. He's a champion, and he has an aggressive style, and he loves the Holden Commodore, and obviously down here, you guys love it as well.
Well, interestingly, he comes from a karting background, so there's not a car here that would be more different to a kart, but he throws this thing around like it is a 120 kg car.
And Fanga Dan Woolhouse, look at that, under the Memphis Meltdown. You see that big ice cream bar, and he took a bite out of it.
Beautifully held onto the handbrake just to leave the back end out there all the way down a good 60 meters. And now he's gone for a double through the GoPro wall ride.
The GoPro wall ride 3, and look at this, goes for another around the barn.
He hasn't got the points that we saw Forsberg rack up down there, though. You should be coming out of there if you've done 2 laps through it, 3 with the bollard, with upwards of 1 million points.
Getting that 20,000. You see, oh, look at that. Getting the Harbourside slider. You see the bonus just jump up. Does he get another? Yes, he does. Look at that. Boom. 167,000 like that. He's got 30 seconds left.
Well, Mad Mike came out of there with 1.8 million. Fanga's a little bit down. If he can get a good park and a couple of big sensors off here, then he could be battling for that second place spot.
All right, well, Fanga Dan, a correction there, but it's not about that. He still does hit the sensor. 2.2 million, 13 seconds left. Is he going to bring it in the Mobile One Service Center? Not. He needs to make a fast pass. 2.5. Clocks the ticket.
Big.
Oh, 3.2. He jumps up. He rivals that of Mad Mike Whiddett, but as you said, not enough to take out Chris Forsberg.
Well, when you're talking about 3.2 million, you don't expect it to come down to change, but that's exactly what it's going to do here between these two old rivals, Mad Mike Whiddett and Fanga Dan.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, pound for pound, you know, just really dynamic, fun drivers, and that's like Gaz Wider and Fanga Dan. You get the Kurt Whitaker, you know, you get all those guys in the mix. There's the leaderboard. Take a look.
Look at that, Mad Mike Whiddett clinging onto that one, just 60,000 points clear of Fanga Dan Woolhouse. These two going toe-to-toe in a big old street fight.
So the answer is now that Fanga Dan officially out. What position's going to grab, 3rd or 4th? And Mad Mike Whiddett, his power is going to knock Mike out of the finals, but we do know that Chris Forsberg is in the finals.
Well, it's a very nervous wait now for the last man to run in our semi-finals. It's Matt Powers.
Introducing Matt Powers from the USA. He's been drifting for 10 years. His top sponsors are Phoenix Radiators, Nitto Tires and Part Shop Max. He's driving a 1995 Nissan 240SX S14 with an LS3 engine with a power output of 400 horse. His tyres are Nitto NT5s.
So not only has he got the style, but he's also got the calculations to match. His heroes are Nietzsche, Napoleon and Nicky Six. Probably the most eclectic brand of heroes you could ever put together. But Matt Powers, It's one of those unique characters.
Phoenix Performance Nitto Tires, and you know what? Dinner's on him because we're going to Sal's Pizza, right? Sal's Pizza right here. So here we go, Mad Powers. Is it going to be an all-U.S. finals? Or is Mad Mike going to hold on to position regardless? We know Mad Mike Whiddett is going to be on the podium. Here we go.
The graphics say hairdryer, the engine says otherwise.
Here we go, a little bit of butt rock there. David Lee Roth's pants.
Oh, he hasn't got the slide on that. He still kept the car close to the barriers, but he didn't get the slide.
Going for the wall ride again, illuminate him. And what kind of combo does he get?
Not enough, not for two.
Not as dynamic as it's been in the previous runs.
Stick it to the wall.
And only 2 out of the harbour side slider.
Under the cliffhanger.
Got all 3 there.
Grabs the cliffhanger combo, 862, 40 seconds, just under at left here. Oh, really far off.
After dominating qualifying and the quarterfinals, Matt Powers looks like he might be struggling here.
He's got the Earnest clothing on the ceiling. Throwing the Shaka under the Achilles Undertaker. I don't think this is going to be enough, Ed.
Right now he is on the ropes. He needs some serious points in this last 15 seconds if he's going to beat 3.27 million.
He needs to hard park that thing about 3 times in order to rival it. 7, 6. It looks like Powers will not repeat in 2014, but that means Mad Mike Whiddett is in the finals.
Wow. It all comes down to that last car. There's celebration down here. The Whiddett crew are going nuts. Matt Powers, so close, but he drove like he owned this course, like the trophy had already been written into the script for him through the quarterfinals, through practice, through qualifying, but then he, under pressure in the semis, he just lets go. I think it was his GoPro wall ride at the start that let him down.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. You got to get through each step of the process. And we saw Forsberg on the bubble. He held it together. Matt Powers was strong out of the gate, but just didn't finish. He had a great showing. And look at this, Mad Mike Whiddett. It took a second car in order for him to get into the finals. Let's make it official and take a look at the leaderboard. Chris Forsberg atop, Mad Mike Whiddett. That means they're in the finals.
We lose Fangadan and Matt Powers, but in the pits now with Chris Forsberg is Drew.
Joining me right now in the pit, we've got Chris Forsberg. Hey, congratulations on making the final, man.
Thank you very much. It's we're learning a lot as this event goes on. This is my first time, so it's really an honor to be moving this far down the ladder against some of these veterans that have been here the years past and kind of understand how this event works. We're kind of going by the seat of our pants, and our scores keep going up every round, so I think we're learning something.
And so what have you learned so far? I mean, you've had a few goes on the track. What's worrying you the most about this course?
Well, the one thing that we're noticing is just where the combos are and which ones, we're able to hit and which ones we, don't have time for and just leave those behind. I think in practice we're focusing on the wrong ones, and then, like I said, we just slowly started to pick and point and find the right flow, and we're finishing within 2 seconds of the finish. So I think we just have that right line down, and we just got to hold it through to the finals.
And you seem very cool, calm, and collected, mate. How are you feeling about going into the final?
It's truly an honor. I'm very excited to be in the finals, especially against the creator of this sport, Mad Mike Whiddett. He's in the finals with me, and there's no one else I'd rather be running out there with for 1 and 2 than him.
Best of luck for the final, my man. Back to you, boys.
Well, thank you, Drew, and thank you. Congratulations, Forsberg. Mad Mike Whiddett will be going first because he got the lower score of the 2. But take a look at this. Just gaining stride is Forsberg. From the start to the finish, he's really getting to know the course even better.
Well, you called it at the start of this. You said that Forsberg, pound for pound, is one of the best drift car drivers in the world. And once he's learned the format, now he knows how to score points. He has started to make it count, and he is a force to be reckoned with now.
Literally and figuratively, but the man of the weekend, and he wants this. He's guaranteed a podium, but he wants to be the highest spot atop it. And Drew is with the brainchild of this whole event, Mad Mike Whiddett. Drew.
Thank you, boys. Yes, I'm here with the man himself who helped create this event. Mate, you must be pretty stoked you're in the final now.
Oh, so pumped. To be honest, I'm more stoked to see all the fans come down here to be able to put on such an epic event in Auckland City. New Zealand just rocks, and we've got the best talent from all around the world. We're definitely privileged to have some of these names here. We've got to thank you guys heaps, and it's not over yet. We've got the final battle. We're up against Chris Forsberg, Formula Drift champion out of USA. It's going to be tough. They, as you've seen over the course course of today, it's been wrecking cars ourselves. We've smashed up the Mad Bull. So yeah, now it's just give it everything we got and just fingers crossed, and hopefully we come out on top.
Yeah, so you lost a vehicle earlier on in the day. How are you finding the new one?
Yeah, it was real tricky. You know, first lap we went out and practiced, and the surface was real sticky, and the course was super tight, concrete walls, and snapped an axle actually with 20 seconds into the run, and came back in. The crew were amazing. They fixed out the axles. Went out for the second qualifying run. I just binned it into the wall, just going a bit too hard. This sort of track, you need to really tone it back. Maybe 100% is a bit too much. So yeah, we backed it off, and then yeah, with our car was destroyed in the steering department, so we had the RX-8 just fresh back from doing an event down in Highlands. So it was kind of awkward hopping into that thing. It's so different for a qualifying run, but yeah, let's see how we go on. Let's jump in the cars and do some skids and show these guys a show.
Well, you said so yourself, mate, if you're not scraping, you're not winning.
Yeah, that's right. You get up on those barriers, but it's super tricky if the guides are, you know, the water on the track earlier as well. So yeah, let's just go and mash the throttle and hopefully get on the top spot.
Well, New Zealand is behind you, man. Best of luck for the final.
All right, man.
We'll leave you to it. Boys, back to you.
Thank you.
I think one of the things you can't underestimate for Mad Mike at this event is the pressure of it being your own event and doing it on home turf in front of all of your crew.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of pride doing this. You know, Mad Mike Whiddett came up with the idea. He wants to travel the world drifting, him, his wife, and his son, you know, and he wants to show the world what Auckland's like, what drifting is, and this is just the unique way that Mike does things. So now not only is he curating an event and the architect, but he wants to win. He wants to do this thing. And right now, I couldn't be happier. Like I said, I called out Forsberg, but here he is now. Mike Whiddett is in the final, and I think this is a great scenario.
Well, we've got a replay of Mike's run in the semi-finals coming up now. We're just going to take a quick look at it so we can dissect where he scored those points. So you see him tear out the tunnel here, and he opts not to go for a really tight angle through this cube box. He just screams out of there and takes the points from the speed tunnel.
Yeah, and Ed, we really failed to mention that because, you know, it's about drifting, getting the car sideways, but the cube angle box, that's the tight alley that they navigate through, and they want to get the angle, and that's where points accumulate. But right here is where a lot of people are gaining a lot of points.
He smashed the GoPro wall ride, he got those multipliers going, but this is where he really cranks the points up. He drags the tail around the harbour side slider into the cliffhanger slider underneath Leon Smith and his mates. The guys who won those VIP seats in the container. Look at that. It's really good precision driving there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he was just a bit outside. He was, you know, was it 300,000 points outside of taking out Forsberg. And right here, the Achilles Undertaker. This is where he did a lot of work. And, you know, he did make it into that Mobile One Service Center, which is a great run there. And right there, you see him reposition, recalculate, trying not to hit, obviously. Look at that. Look at that. Just, I mean, man, I'm talking inches in between his wing and that truck. Look at that. That's tight tolerance. So there it is. That was Mikey's run there, and he is in the finals as we're advancing on to the finals. It's Mad Mike Whiddett and Chris Forsberg. Let's take a look at it. Once again, the boy that is known as Mad Mike.
Mad Mike Whiddett, he hails from Auckland, New Zealand. He's been drifting for 7 years. Drift Shifters is his brainchild. He's sponsored by Red Bull, Mazda and Speed Hunters. Mike's driving a Mazda FD RX-7 powered by a 26B quad-rotor engine, which outputs 537 horsepower. His tyres are Nitto NT05s.
So all or nothing again. The pressure is off now, though. It's just one drive for Mad Mike. He knows that he's on the podium regardless, but if he wants to take that coveted first place, he's going to have to be consistent here.
Yeah, this is it. Mad Mike Whiddett is in it to win it. As the iLab patches are sewed on, and he is sitting on the seat of his pants. He is ripped roaring, ready to go. Here we go, Mad Mike Whiddett.
The whites of his eyes were visible around his entire iris then. His eyes are so wide as he tears through the cube box and actually shoved a hand out of the window. Memphis meltdown sensor goes as he powers into the wall ride.
Into the GoPro wall ride, grabs a combo, jumps up, 831,000 already out of the gate, and still more than a minute left.
He's right on those sensors at their shortest level, so he's getting measured within 300 millimeters of those barriers. Brings it into the cliffhanger slider, into the harbour side slider.
Here comes Mad Mike into the cliffhanger. Look at him working it. Absolutely put it through the paces. 2.7 million. Over 40 seconds left here from Mad Mike.
This is a huge score for the Aucklander as he tears back down through the cube box into the Achilles Undertaker. He's still got 35 seconds, and this is where he made the run count last time. He can crank these points through the roof here.
29 seconds left. Make some noise, New Zealand. Is your own Kiwi going to bring it home in his own backyard, the harbor, the waterfront? 3.5 million, 20 seconds left.
The tires are squealing like a sunburned pig.
And here we go. He is sizzling bacon here. He is smoking if you got him. Over 12 seconds left. Brings it on home. 4 million. Does it go up?
He's got 4 million. Look, 4 million without the power up. He didn't quite get the back end in there.
Did not get it in the power up. You see the fans cheering him on. Let's take a look at it again. This is it. Now he sits on the sidelines. And man, he almost went to that Mobile One Service Center a little too early.
I can't remember who sang it, but in the words of a good 80s pop song, the heat is on. It's on the street.
On the street. There it is.
Forsberg knows he's got to deliver. It's exactly the same score we saw from Matt Powers. That is immaculate driving.
4 million points from Mad Mike Whiddett. It is Kiwi versus the Yankee. And man, is this where the chants begin? I feel like the chants begin now. The finals are set, and there's only one driver left to go.
You've got to be careful with the USA chant here on Auckland soil, but Forsberg has gone from strength to strength in every round. This is Mad Mike Whiddett's format. He knows how to play this game, but Forsberg has learnt it, and he looks a very formidable competitor at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, again, so many things to just, celebrate here. And who's going to celebrate the largest? I mean, I have Mike's grandma right here. I got the mom, the friends of Red Bull. The VIP is right here. I mean, we have some great seats. Did you guys have fun today, Auckland? I mean, you're watching online, Red Bull TV. The fans are out here on Key Street, and look at that. Take a look. Thank you for joining us here on Red Bull TV. Ed, Drew down in the pits. It's just been a great day, and we're just moments away from finding out who will be our winner. Is it going to be Mad Mike Whiddett, who we just saw, or this man, Chris the Force Forsberg?
Say hello to Chris Forsberg. He hails from the USA and has been drifting for 14 years. His top sponsors are Hankook Tyres, NOS Energy Drink, and Champion Spark Plugs. He's rolling in the Nissan 370Z, powered by a VK56DE engine with an output of 850 horsepower. He's got Hankook RS3 tyres.
This is pinball with high-octane machines. Chris Forsberg, the last run of Red Bull Drift Shifters here on the waterfront in downtown Auckland. Can he beat the New Zealander Mad Mike Whiddett with this run? It all comes down to this.
All right, well, you can see just a dynamic, almost video game-esque meets pinball, high-octane pinball. I mean, just a brainchild, again, of Mad Mike Whiddett. Chris has been in this situation before when nerves are firing on all cylinders. Here we go, a V8 under the hood of the 370Z. Here comes the Force.
He's a proven competitor who can handle the pressure as he tears down under the Memphis Meltdown, flicks it into the GoPro wall ride and tucks the rear end of the car onto those barriers.
Wow, you saw him there. That front wheel actually stopped just to ensure that he hit that sensor. Already 500,000 points. Look at that front wheel stop. He's putting that left foot brake and just parking the back end of that vehicle as he muscles that bollard around.
I think he might have made the same mistake and gone in for a double on the barrier, but it'd be interesting to see. He needed to come out of there with $1 million. He's got to make these sliders work. Cliffhanger slider to harborside slider.
Man, he is ensuring that. Look at him. He is just crawling through those wall rides, absolutely kissing the wall, or actually French kissing it. Look at him. He is just muscling the car around.
That was as passionate and up close as it gets. Tears past us here on the cube angle into the Achilles Undertaker. Tucks it in under there. Now he's got to get all four corners of this truck to get the combo firing.
So there we go, into at 153,000. Does he get the combo? Yes, he does. 163, 165. I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm wondering where those points were left behind that Mike grabbed.
The multipliers bumped it to 2 million, but the parking garage is never going to give it. 4 million.
And 2.6 million. There's nowhere near Mad Mike Whiddett's score with 5 seconds left.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a champion of Drift Shifters 2014. It is the creator of this event. Give it up for Mad Mike Whiddett. You can see how much it means to him there. He worked so hard on this event in 2012. They brought Red Bull Drift Shifters back down here on a bigger scale in 2014. There was a lot of pedigree in an international field. Daigo Saito, Chris Forsberg, Matt Powers, the returning champion, Gaz Whiter, Fang Adan, all very, very talented drivers. But Mad Mike Whiddett, his consistency reigns through the day here.
You can see him just celebrating there in the pits, talking to Jake Jones. Let's take a look at his last run there. This was the final run for Mad Mike Whiddett. As we take a look at it again, and remember, we'll have the podium ceremony on track. Don't go anywhere. Here's Mad Mike Whiddett's run as we go on board with a GoPro camera.
So he used the speed rather than the angle as he came through, and then he flicks the car under the Memphis Meltdown, hits the sensor there, and then just wipes the wall with his back end there. I tell you what, there'd be absolutely no mess left behind. He'd be good at changing nappies. It's like a wet wipe through that wall.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers were absolutely massaging. That's the term, the adjective I used earlier. They just massaged their vehicle into that. I mean, Forsberg was really crawling through there. That's why I'm wondering where those points that were missing that Mike got that Forsberg didn't.
It was the 6-on-6 in the GoPro wall ride, and then you can hear every single one of these dinging for 2 laps.
Yep, and the lights are illuminating, the sirens are going off, and it's been a great day and a beautiful event. And Mad Mike, he couldn't be happier. Him and his family and his sponsors.
He has dropped that car on the head of a pin time and time again. And you can have one great run, as we saw with Matt Powers, but you've got to have 7 great runs. And that's exactly what Mad Mike did. Well, actually, he only had 6 runs. Luckily, the bad run was in the practice.
All right, so there you see it. And that was Mad Mike Whiddett post Chris Forsberg's run. And Drew, who's down in the pits, is with our winner now.
A massive congratulations to Mad Mike right here, dude. Epic run, bro.
Oh man, that was just as hard as I could go. Full throttle, the car started overheating, and then just lost comms actually to my spotters, giving me time. I was getting the 15-second time, so there's so much going on in the cockpit, and I lost them, and yeah, just kind of played it by feel and came back in. I think I had some spare time, but pumped, man. We cracked over the 4 million, and it was a tough battle, but I was so stoked to have such an awesome event, be able to bring it here to home city and to win it, and just have the support of the best sponsors and for Red Bull, man, to be able to put something like this together and prove to everyone that we can do something like this and showcase the precision and how professional the sport of drifting. Yeah, it's just a surreal moment right now.
Who would you like to thank, bro?
Man, I got to thank my better half, Tony Cook, man. She puts everything, like so much time, like it's.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Mad Mike right here, man.
Yeah, like this is. It looks glamorous and stuff, we do a lot of travel and we drift, this is the dream for me and we're living it, but it is a lot of hard work. And I got to thank everyone just so much for all the support through my 6 years of drifting, and we've come a long way and just trying to put New Zealand on the global stage and represent what we have. We have something very unique, and I want to thank all the New Zealand drivers as well. We had the best here today. I hand-selected all those guys, and they really put on a show. They've beaten up their cars for us, and for you guys to put on a show, I'm kind of speechless.
Well, massive congratulations to you, bro. You've done New Zealand proud. Let's take a look at some of your highlights.
All right.
Well, no shortage of emotion there from Mike. I think it was almost more relief than it was celebration there. It means so much to him, and he's worked so hard to make Drift Shifters a success. And I think he's proved, oh, got to get down there. A little bit of limbo as he came underneath the cube angle. All of Mike's family tucked into the VIP area there, waving him off. Chris Forsberg. These cars, as they rumble past us, sound like bumblebees on Valium. They're phenomenal.
You know, Ed, I got to bring it up, man. You got to love the emotion that exuded out of Mad Mike. And you know, just seeing Mike Whiddett develop as not only a driver, a spokesman, a father, a husband, but just as everything, man. Just as a human being. You know, growing up breakdancing, riding BMX, riding motocross, and hanging out with his son. You know, us being husbands ourselves, traveling the world. It brings a tear to my eye. I'm stoked for him. He won right here in his own backyard, and he did it in only Mad Mike fashion.
Well, it's such a difficult format to get the hang of. Mad Mike knew what he needed to do without getting really down and dirty. He didn't smash the car up. He managed to just rub a little bit of paint off the back of his car and hold it onto the barriers there. Cranked up some huge scores. And now he gets to celebrate in some style. We had two Kiwis and 2 Americans in the semi-finals, which I don't think anyone could have predicted. As the semi-finals progressed, you saw it was going to be Power. You thought it was going to be Powers Forsberg.
I thought it was going to be an all-American final, but Mad Mike really threw it down. And look at this. The only repeat, Fanga Dan. He's in 3rd place again. He got 3rd place in 2012. So the Kiwi, you know, he's holding it down right now. He's 2 for 2 as far as podiums go, but Mad Mike Whiddett is high atop. But you can see so many hardworking team members behind the scenes getting the podium settled. But Mike Whiddett, Chris Forsberg, and Fanga Dan. And, you know, hats off to all the drivers, you know, coming from Japan, coming from Australia, and, of course, coming from the U.S. Look at them.
This is such an incredibly unique spectacle, especially in the world of motorsport, where you can see with this shot here the proximity that the cars are to the crowd. There are very few motorsport events you can get to where you could almost lean over the barrier and start touching a car.
Definitely don't. You know, it's kind of roller coaster. Keep your hands and, you know, appendages inside. You might lose them. But this is the progression of drifting. I mean, competitive drifting won't go anywhere, but something like this just brings it to the masses in a very stylistic format. You know, here we are in Auckland, where water on one side, you know, 5-star restaurants on the other, and here we are, you know, 2 Kiwis and an American walk into a bar, and the Kiwi comes out paying for the bill. As I said, I started with it, I'll end with it. And Mad Mike Whiddett, he's flipping the bill here, man.
Well, it's interesting looking at the heritage here as well. You've got 3 very different drivers. Forsberg on the right of your screen there is the people's drifter. He came up through drift car. Then you've got Fanga Dan, karter at heart. He still goes karting at his local club pretty regularly. And then you've got Mad Mike, who came through motocross, BMX, FMX, and then injuries overtook him. He thought, you know what, I need a roll cage. So he jumped in a drift car.
Yeah, breakdancing, I mean, crazy karting. He kind of does it all. And you know, that's just a testament to drifting as a sport. Action sport meets motorsport, now meets technology and getting rid of that human element. So we are moments away from getting our podium set up. So let's give away some trophies.
Okay, so
shouldn't we do 3rd place first?
In 3rd place, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Dan Woolhouse, aka Fanga Dan.
So Fanga Dan with the repeat receives his hardware and gets atop the podium. Once again, make some noise for Fanga Dan Woolhouse. Just a bit outside on his Red Bull Drift Shifters debut, coming off the championship. Here he is, coming from Pennsylvania, grabbing 2nd place here in Auckland. It is Chris the Force Forsberg.
But from New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the 2014 Drift Shifters champion, Mad Mike Whiddett!
Mad Mike Whiddett holding that golden hardware, the cross wrenches and sprocket, silver and bronze. Man, you know, here, you know, Mad Mike Whiddett had it. He put it all together.
I think now there's only one thing left to do, and that is hand out the champagne.
Again, thank you for joining us on Red Bull TV. You could see the media there up close and personal. Join the conversation. Let everybody know you're watching it. Hashtag Drift Shifters. Auckland, did you have fun? Red Bull TV, did you have fun? Ed, Drew in the pits. Man, I had a blast. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, New Zealand.
There we have it. You always know it's been a good event when you see the champagne moment. Mad Mike Whiddett with a very hard-earned victory.
Well, thank you again so much for Ed, Drew, and the whole team. Thank you for joining us on Red Bull TV. This has been Drift Shifters 2014. We'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. See you later. Send it.